talking about payments, we're talking about what's going to happen in the future as far as payments are concerned and cross-border payments. And I think it doesn't take a genius to sort of understand that blockchain is going to drive payments in the future because of all the advantages it has. What I want to really talk about is how, why, and where is it going to take us in the future. Yeah, we use blockchain for payments, and what problem does it solve rather than just payments itself? So I'll keep it casual. I don't really do well with rigidity and slides and so on. I don't make these, by the way. So I'm going to read it along with you as well. Let's begin. So FIRE, just a quick introduction. We are a blockchain. We're a level blockchain. We recently became the world's fastest unicorn. What we're doing is that we are inculcating sustainability into blockchain, which means that through consensus, as somebody here was talking about proof of work and proof of stake, our consensus is proof of benefit, which basically means that we financially incentivize sustainability. For instance, if I'm using carbon in the system and we're using geothermal energy, you will have better chances of validation and also more rewards for validation through a consensus, hence moving the world towards a more sustainable based for benefit economy. So that's the basic ethos of the company. That's the innovation that we've done, because I personally believe that profitability is going to be defined by sustainability in the future. So that's about us. I think I'm not going to go ahead and bore you with all the other details, technical details, because that's not what it's about. A little bit about myself, not much. I have been into marketing for a long time. Even though I look young, but I'm pretty old. I've been consulting with Facebook, with Google, with multiple companies around the world to develop their marketing programs. And I have been a proponent of blockchain maximalist for a long time, because I bought my first Bitcoin at $7 for reasons that I can't mention here. But after that, I read the white paper, and I remember being absolutely blown away by what the technology was. And I've been a proponent since then, because I knew that this is going to come and change the world. And I feel really happy that it's already now doing it. Sort of making noise around the world, because I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. So that's a little bit about me. Now, international payments, the problems. It is such an old school system. I mean, I was just reading something on my phone just now. The SWIFT payment was designed in 1973. The Apple one was designed in 1976. I mean, I change my MacBook every 2 years. So we've been using a technology that's so old. It's not made to cater for the needs of the present world. It's just as simple as that. So there's many hurdles, delays, and fee. You have 6.5% of your money, poof, gone every time you send a transaction. Not talking about the conversion fees and not transferring on Sundays and so on and so forth. So it's not able to keep up with how we move in the present world right now. They're also not interoperable. So I've been living in Europe. I was sending money. I was in Poland. I was sending money from one Polish bank to the other, and I was told that a SWIFT transaction from basically Krakow to Warsaw is an international transaction, because that's what they decided. So I had to pay extra fees through multiple intermediary banks, because I was sending an international transaction from Poland to Poland, which was absolutely ridiculous. So there's many hurdles there, and HSBC cannot really interact with a DBS bank, because they're using totally different systems and are not operable. So basically, as the slide says, it's the whole system was developed by in different places at different times, and then when the world became global, it was all stitched together, and that gave birth to this technology which nobody really understands, which nobody really it's not an optimized technology, and we all know that. So I'm sorry about that. So if you basically are able to solve this problem in underserved markets, if you're able to, another thing I was reading on my phone just now was there's 60 or around 1 in 6 loans are taken through payday loans or through gold loans, through loans that are not very standardized, because people don't trust the payments, and there's no way for us to make sure that if there's an international loan, then there'll be a good collateral. So I think there's multiple issues with the payment system. Now, what does blockchain do? It comes and changes the game. You can come and you can send me I'm buying coffee, and send me an Ethereum transaction for a coffee. I have it in 2 seconds, done. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter where I am, doesn't matter what I'm buying. There's no intermediaries, there's nothing, there's no hassle. So now if you see that the confidence in this technology is growing and growing and growing, because finally we're at a stage where people are seeing this as real money. It's been a long time coming, and you see all these banks also now starting to create their CBDCs. So I think we're at a good stage right now. Now you can not only tackle cross-border payments, but you can also tackle multiple problems through blockchain, which we're going to see in the future in this slide. So digital currencies. If you see that, I'm going to take it very light because I haven't digitalized myself. But digital currencies have been around for quite a long time. Cryptocurrencies have come and changed the game in the digital currency world, because of its interoperability, because of how fast it works, and because of low fees. So, as I said, I've been buying coffee, I've been buying clothes, I've been buying everything with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with no hassle at all. And I think that is the future of where we're going. India just announced their CBDC, which means the digital rupee. We're moving to a world where governments are now seriously looking at blockchain as a solution for the draconian systems that we've been building for a long time. Now, why do you want to use your digital currency for transfer of value? Because it's decentralized. There is no one point of failure. If you see, there's multiple bank hacks that are happening these days. I was unfortunate enough to lose some money in a bank hack back in the day. So, why does it happen? Because there's one point of failure. I'm a bank, I'm keeping all my data in a centralized server in some small room somewhere in the country. And somebody who has no idea about technology has the keys to that server room. It's not that difficult to see why that system's gonna fail. All you have to do, there's something in security called social engineering. All you have to do is social engineer the password and the keys out of that person, and then the entire finance of the entire bank depends on that one person, that one point of failure. And I know it sounds ridiculous, I know it sounds far-fetched, but that's what's happening in most of the banks. Not just most of the banks, but most of the Fortune 500. I was talking to an executive officer in IBM. They give servers, they provide servers all around the world. Most of the infrastructure is handled by one guy. And if you get to that one guy, the entire IBM infrastructure is done. So this is a huge issue. This is a huge security breach, and we have not been able to tackle this for decades now. How does blockchain tackle it? You have different nodes, you have different people running your servers. There's not one server. So the computing power comes from you, from him, from her, from everyone. Now for that point of failure, you have to make sure that you attack everyone at the same time in a synchronized manner, and also make sure that you're able to successfully attack more than 51% of the people most times, which is not that easy to do. And that's why the decentralization has given birth to massive amounts of security in the world. It is also immutable, which means you cannot change the data on a blockchain. So a lot of other also hacks have been where there has been data manipulation on company or bank ledgers, which means people come and change the value of the database, your $1 billion becomes $1 billion, you come and take those $1 billion and you live happily ever after. And then, of course, that $1 billion comes from other people who do not have that money because money doesn't come from anywhere. So, with blockchain, you cannot change it. Once the data is fed, it's a totally trustless and transparent system. So it removes all this rigmarole about trying to have everything in old school ledgers. So I think it is very important for us to have a decentralized system that also people can trust, and this is people's money. Now, they are also community owned. And I mean, I have nothing against the banks. I haven't used banks for a long time. It's for different reasons. But when that 6% of the transaction is charged to you, does it go back to you? Does it go back to the community? Does it go back to help anybody? Or does it go to the Rockefellers? So, with blockchain, what happens is that whenever you're charged, whenever there is gas fee of the transaction, the gas fee is for the computing power that's coming from the community itself, from you and me. So when the transaction fees is charged, most of the money goes back to us for providing the computing power. It is truly a people's system. Now, advantages I've been talking about them already. Mutability cannot be changed or altered. Super trustworthy. Decentralized, so not one single point of failure. You can make sure it's almost impossible at this point. I mean, of course, nothing is impossible, but it's almost impossible to take over Bitcoin or Ethereum networks because of the amount of decentralized nodes that they have. So that's there. Enhanced security, because once the hash is generated, once the private key is generated, once that transaction is generated, you cannot take it back. Unlike banking transactions, where there's a certain lag between when the transaction is generated or transaction is credited. So that lag gives way to more security errors. Distributed ledgers, all of the open, trustless. I can see what you've been doing. If you're doing dubious stuff, then it's very easy for government to track. It's very interesting because cryptocurrency is always related or connected to black money, which, I mean, there is a bit of a thing there, but less than 1% of all the crypto transactions are illegal or black money. In fact, it is such a trustless system that if government starts really paying attention, they can make sure that it's easy to track most of the people who have black money there. Consensus, of course, it is a community decision, and also the rewards go back to the community. Faster settlement, this is the big one. Why do I send a wire on Saturday and then have to wait around, only to find out that there was a public holiday in Barcelona on Monday and I still can't get it? So it makes no sense with the fast pace of the world we're moving in. With blockchain, of course, it's pretty much instant. I mean, with Bitcoin, maybe it's a couple of minutes, but with all the new technologies coming, especially with Fire, it's microseconds, the transaction. So we just can't be having a system that takes 3 days and has so many obstacles just to send money from one person to the other. Now, where does all this take us? Alright, blockchain can be used for international payments, that's great. Where does this take us? There's a very close link between personal identity and finance. My dad being from India, I've been living there for a long time as well before I moved to Europe. So in countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, or multiple countries in Africa, there's a billion people, more than a billion people who do not have official proof of identity. That means they don't have social security, they don't have access to loans. All they have is those, gold payday loans or gold loans, which is default for them because they don't have access to anything that's standardized. 1 in 2 women in low-income countries do not have ID. So of course, with FIRE, one of the UN SDGs that we're trying to solve is gender equality. That puts a huge burden on the equality process because they again do not have access to financial means, and when women don't have access to financial means, they cannot be as strong as they have to be. Now, 161 countries have IT systems and digital technologies, but they have absolutely no idea how to secure them. That's why the UID of India keeps on getting hacked every 3 years. and then all your information is in a place is in the hand of somebody who can use it for any dubious means. Now, because they don't have these financial services, then there has been an issue where they're not able to get loans. They're not able to get, somebody was talking about DeFi, that they're not able to get access to decentralized finance or any finance for that matter. Now, how do you solve this? If you, right now NFTs, the use of NFTs has been pretty much just, and for those who don't understand, NFTs are non-fungible tokens that have a very particular signature, has been in the industry of videos, song, tweets. What we're doing with Fire is building a technology where your decentralized identity will be connected to these non-fungible tokens, where all the ideal documents, there's something called zero knowledge proof in blockchain, which means all your identity will be in a Web3 space in form of an NFT, which means you will be able to authenticate yourself without giving out information that you give right now. Why does a bank need to know when exactly was I born? Why, when I go for a voting, to vote for a government, why do they need to know what exactly my address is? All they need to know is that I qualify for the criteria to vote without knowing the nuances or the fine points of my personal information. Because personal information is expensive. It is we take it too lightly these days, and as a marketer I understand that it is an insane thing how lightweight we treat our personal information as. So with this NFT, with this zero knowledge proof, all you do is an NFT that's connected to your Web3 identity, and that's it. In the future, somebody was talking about standardization of banks. I mean, banks have procedures. Banks do have procedures, and also so does blockchain. But those procedures in blockchain are smart contracts. So the best procedures are the ones that work in the background. And since all the blockchain procedures are smart contracts, it's not easy to see those procedures, which is why blockchain is so good. So in the future with Fire, we presume or we envision that most of the decentralized entities will be used through Fire, through in authentication, in passports, in banks, in voting systems, in governments, and so on and so forth. Now, how do you integrate that personal identity with money? So, if you have that Web3 identity, your authentication is set. The loan giver, or whatever organization you're dealing with is able to see that you're authentic because that's how technology works. What does this mean? Basically, it means backing the unbanked. You have somebody sitting in Botswana or somebody sitting in Zimbabwe who does not have access to identity documents, so cannot get loans, cannot build a house, cannot have a business, cannot basically get access to anything financial. If they basically accept what we are doing, and if we start banking them, which we are already starting to do, there's this whole ecosystem that opens up for them. Just because they have cryptocurrency now, they can stake that cryptocurrency, they can get loans based off it, which they have not had access to for generations. We're not talking about like a year or two. This has been going on for hundreds of years, which blockchain changes. So this is one of the main ethos in a company, because we are also, another SDG is poverty. So we're trying to solve poverty by making sure that we give access to banking, to DeFi, to loans, to staking, all of these protocols to anybody who's not banked in the world. Now, of course, that will cut all the intermediaries, and it is a huge process. They won't have any fees. They will not be able to. They'll be able to access everything at the same instant. So that will also help them, because that high level of fees also hurts them all the time. Now, how are we doing this? So what we're doing is that, I'll actually move to the next slide. Now this is good. We are connecting your address, your wallet address, to your phone number, because the only problem that I see with blockchain right now is it's too complicated. My mom can't use it, and if my mom can't use something, then it's a problem, because that means that most people can't use it. It's very interesting anecdote. The other day I was looking at my grandmom typing on Google, and what she was typing was she was looking for some sort of a tailor, and she was typing, "Could you please tell me where this tailor is?" And I'm like, "Grandma, you don't have to type an entirely grammatically correct sentence on Google." And she goes, "But we have to be polite to the people who responded on the other side." So she actually thinks that there's a person on the other side of Google who responded to all her queries, which is very cute. But it's amazing because she does not understand how it works. I certainly don't understand how it works, but we all use it because it runs in the background. The problem with blockchain right now is too complicated. Crazy hexadecimal addresses, private keys, public keys, scanners, and so on and so forth. So what we're doing in FIRE is also, we are of course solving sustainability through the consensus, but solving accessibility, where you would not have those hexadecimal addresses anymore. What you will have, for instance, my name is Prateek. You will have a domain, prateek.fire. On that decentralized web domain, you'll be able to store all your assets, all your NFTs, all your files, all your entities. All of you will be in that one domain. And the problem that the problem is more important than it sounds, because you have governments now banning these wallets all over the world. If you have $1 million, if you have whatever amount of money in MetaMask, let's say, as a wallet, next thing you know, your authorities have banned you, and you've lost all your assets. You cannot access them anymore. You go back to the same monopoly. You can go and get your bank account frozen at any point in time without anybody giving you any reasons. You cannot ban a decentralized Web3 domain. It is hosted by people like you and me around the decentralized web world. And that's the new paradigm. So once that happens, you always have access to your assets, doesn't matter what happens in the world. So that solves a massive problem for people who don't have banking right now, because this is the only solution for them, and if this is banned, they don't have anywhere to go. So that's there, removing the complexity and making sure that you can easily, nobody has to download anything. We've also added a mobile number layer, which has been pretty close to my heart and very interesting. So for the first time, you now will be able to, and you can do it in Binance, of course, you can do it in centralized exchanges, but in a decentralized manner, you cannot send crypto transactions to a phone number. Now, people might not have identities, people might not have ID cards, but everybody has a phone number. So we've had, actually it's interesting because we also had now new interest from telecom companies because they're becoming so irrelevant, but we're solving this. But for the first time, you'll be able to send crypto transactions to somebody's phone number, which basically makes it like Revolut, which makes it super easy. So that's the ethos of a company. We're trying to make sure that we're all maximalists, we're all believers. We're going to make sure that crypto runs in the foreground of the entire revolution technically right now. So this is where it takes us. Cross-border payments will now lead to a new world where decentralized finance and technologies like this will make sure that we solve poverty, we solve banking issues that have been plaguing us for decades, if not centuries. Of course, FIRE's goal is to impact 1 billion people in the next few years. We've already well on course to do that. Now, we work on separate SDGs. As I said, we have the UN SDGs inculcated in the consensus mechanism. One of the main ones that we're working on, and especially for this talk, is eliminating poverty and making sure that most of the unbanked get banked. And I will invite you guys to all look at FIRE and see what we're doing, because I think together we can make this movement faster. Well, I don't know why the slide is there, but that's my socials. You can email me at Prateek@FIRE, of course. The crypto blog is my Telegram. If you want to talk to me on Twitter or Instagram, it's Prateek_FIRE, which is FIRE. And that's about it, I think. Yeah.
Excellent presentation, Prateek. Thank you for that great information.
Any questions, of course, I'm all yours.
Great, we got some questions, I'm sure. I'm ready to take some money from my telephone number, so if anyone wants my digits, let me know.
Hi, Prateek. Thank you for your presentation. I just have one question. You mentioned that it will be linked to mobile phone numbers. So how will you operate in countries where people have to show their identification cards in order to obtain mobile numbers? Usually they'll use somebody else's contact. Will there be any issue?
Correct. Yeah, that's an amazing question, because it is not a compulsory link to a mobile phone number. It is a layer on top. So if you want to be absolutely decentralized and if you want to not have that additional mobile phone layer, you are welcome to do that. Why we did mobile number is because a lot of people want to have that trade-off. They're alright with being not totally anonymous, but they want ease of use, which is, again, my parents don't care about their identity being revealed or not revealed, but they just want easily to send money through phones. So, the answer to your question is, yeah, in some countries it is KYC, and people will have to be okay with either choosing or not choosing if they want to reveal their identity or not. We're giving them both options.
Fantastic question, thank you. We got another question.
Thank you. Just clarification about you are a blockchain, a protocol like Ethereum, or you are using a layer?
We are our own blockchain built out of Rust, so yeah, something like Ethereum, but we operate on proof of benefit, which basically uses a proof of stake layer at the core, and then the proprietary consensus comes in, which is proof of benefit, which is like a multiplier. So as I was saying, if you're using nuclear energy or water energy and I'm using carbon, you will have a better proof of benefit multiplier. Hence you'll have more chances to validate, and you'll also have more reward from the validation itself. So you'll have a better financial incentive to be more sustainable in the system.
Regarding decentralized identity, today there is a global standard which is the SSI. Are you using this?
Well, with DIDs, we're still developing our systems. We right now are only concentrated on, because we are very closely connected to Fortune 500s and governments. So right now the solutions that we're building, apart from the people who are building solutions for us, are predictive policing and so on for the governments, and also data storage for Fortune 500s. But yeah, with digital identities, I think the standard itself is going, the usage is going to define the standards. So haven't really figured out what the standard is going to be. As far as our system is concerned, we haven't been using the IDs in its full-fledged form.
SSI is the global standard.
Correct. Yes.
Sovereign is the organization that holds all that standard.
Correct. Well, the point is that. And this is the same discussion for standard with banks we're talking about. A standard can be built, but it only depends on how many people use that standard. So I think something like ERC 720 is, everybody is using that standard, it will become a standard. Our researchers are working on a standard. We'll take this separately, because I want to discuss DID pretty deeply. But our researchers are working on a separate DID standard, which is going to be pretty different from SSRI, and we can take this offline.